Everybody. So I led a session earlier today on the changes that Hekman Library is dealing with and how we're continuing to support you and your students right now. I didn't record that session when it was running live, but I wanted to make this information available in some way. So I'm just making this little recording to cover that content, and I will try and find a way to share that on SharePoint or some other way. There's also a PDF that I created that has some links to a few different resources that I'm referring to, so that way you can follow up and review all of that anytime. So let me just get started by introducing myself, I guess. So my name is Amanda Mattice. I'm the student learning librarian, part of the team of librarians of Hekman that are currently working from home. And I'm going to just be going over how the library is responding to campus closure and what we can do for you right now. I'd like to start with just some quick facts about library services right now, what is and isn't being offered at this time. So first of all, the library building is itself closed now and non-essential staff are working from home. That's pretty much everybody. Previously, we were able to offer book requests for pickup, but we're no longer able to do that, unfortunately, because of college and state mandates for sheltering in place. Item requests through MEL and ILL are also on hold temporarily, unfortunately. However, we are still providing a plethora of electronic resources. We are attempting to continue article requests through ILL, and librarians are still providing research assistance remotely for classes and one-on-one. So all of this information is kept up to date on our website. On the home page, there's now a little orange banner at the top with a link to the page for all of these details on how we're responding to closure. So you can always turn to that for more details, or you can feel free to ask us questions and reach out anytime. Now I'd like to walk through our online resources. Some of you may already be very familiar with all of these things, so bear with me as I just provide a little bit of a review. I want to just make sure that for your information, or maybe for your students' information, that you're aware of some of the challenges or complications, or have everything clear about how to get access to some of these resources. Definitely send your students and send your questions to us anytime. But here's just a few things you might like to know more about for your own sake. So now I'm going to share my screen. Let me see, there we go. And so now you should hopefully be seeing the Hekman Library homepage. That's library.kelvin.edu. And there's a few things to know about. So I guess the biggest thing, the one thing that you should really impress on your student is to always start here on the library homepage. Don't try to Google different ebooks and databases because, as you know, many of these resources aren't available freely online. And going through the library website is what you need to trigger our proxy server to provide free access to you, no matter where you are off campus. So a lot of questions come up to us from students about getting access to these resources or running into paywalls. And the short and sweet answer to that is go through the library website. Always go through the library website. Now, from here, there are multiple ways for you to discover our online resources, namely ebooks, e-journals, and databases. For ebooks, the simplest way to find them is to use the library catalog, which is right here in the middle of the homepage. You can enter keywords for what you're searching for right here. So let's pretend that I am a student doing a little research paper on educational programs in prisons. All right. So normally, if I were to search, we might come up with lots of results for books, ebooks, microfilm, even journals, etc. So to limit that to just ebooks, we'll use the options available here for limit 2. We can change type to books and forms to online. So now when we search, we should see that our results are all ebooks. Excellent. Most of our ebooks will have a link to the full text here, or you might also go into the detailed record page of the book by clicking the title and then find the link near the top for full text. If you click on that, we will be brought to a new page for eBook Central. And this is the vendors page for accessing our ebook here. So what you might notice with this ebook and other ebooks are different rules for access. Some may allow download, some you may only read online, some may require an ebook reader program, some may limit how many people can read simultaneously. It can get kind of complicated and frustrating for students who don't really understand what's going on. But we don't expect any of you to have all of this memorized. I don't want to add to anyone's stress here. So I actually have a couple videos that I'll be posting on our library YouTube channel that walks you through this. And those links are in the PDF that I've shared. I will be sharing, so you can refresh your memory anytime or share with your students as needed. So going back to our catalog search, I'd like to show you by starting another search here how you might look for e-journals. If I'm looking for a specific one, like let's say the Journal of American Medical, I could search for that as journal title here. Or if I am just looking for medical journals in general, maybe just searching keyword for medicine, I could use these limit 2 options again by selecting journals as my type and online as my form. So let's search that now. And what we should see in just a minute, our results will be various medical journals, and they are all e-journals. So there you have it. And there is another tool for discovering e-journals. You can actually see it at the top of the page in the catalog here. It's called eJournal Locator. If you go to the library homepage, you can also find the eJournal Locator at the bottom of the homepage right under Research. It's just another tool that we have for searching for specific e-journals and connecting with those by searching for them right here. Okay. So the last thing that I want to point out on the library homepage is how to connect with databases. We've got the big search box in the middle for finding databases. You can type in a specific one that you need. So if a student needs PsycInfo, PsycInfo will come up and you can connect directly to that database. Remember, that's the pathway that they'll need to go to get access through the library and not have to work around some kind of Google paywall. But there are a few other options that could be useful to students for exploring our databases. So if they don't have a particular one in mind, they do have the option to look through our A to Z list here or browse the databases by subject. I find this to be very useful for students because especially when they're beginning a research project, they may not know what's the best place to begin. So if you direct them to search for databases by subject, let's say that I'm a student and I just need some kind of database for my history research paper. Let's show databases here. And here are all of the databases that you have access to through the library that cover in some way, shape, or form history studies and history research. You could even check this little box for core databases only to see what are the most important or the most relevant from that list, and that narrows it down. So you have a few good options. So that's just a quick run through of our online resources. I have all of this information and more packed into a guide called Using Hekman Online. I've got that linked in the PDF that I mentioned, and I will also show you now where to find that. If we're on the library homepage, going up to the top here, you can see our page for the library response to coronavirus. That's where we're updating our policies. And right here next to it is our guide to using Hekman Library Online. So if we click that, this guide I created is geared kind of more towards students. So there's a lot of things that can be helpful to them. Some general library information, some how-tos and helpful videos on finding resources online, more on how to get help from a librarian. And there are some useful things too for faculty. So scrolling down here just a little bit, I've got a box on each page of this guide called Tools and Tips for Faculty. And you might especially want to take some time to look at this page called Linking Library Resources in Your Course. That would be if you need to share an article or an ebook that you found, linking that on your Moodle page, or maybe the reverse situation where a student needs to share something like that with you. What can throw a lot of students off is knowing what to actually share. A lot of them will just copy and paste the web address that they see in their view, and what you actually need to do in most situations is share the permalink. So I won't go into all of the possibilities there, but this page describes just how to do that for multiple sources. So you can always, you can peruse that anytime, or you can always contact us librarians for help with that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Hello again. So speaking of librarians, I'd like to just reiterate that yes, we are here and we want to support you. There are, in fact, many ways that working with a librarian can be useful to you. We can give instruction in your class for how to use some of our online resources. We can meet with your students one-on-one for research help. We can give you advice on how to find informational materials for your class online. We're open to working with you in any number of ways. So, for example, with one of the English 102 classes that I support, early in the semester, I visited class in person and I met with students one-on-one to provide research help. And now I've just transitioned those services onto Teams. So my faculty person added me to her Teams and her Moodle, actually. So I've been able to attend some of their sessions, share some resources. I've had different chats and video conferences with students to walk through some research practices like I just did. So that's just that's some of the many things that our librarians are ready and willing to offer to you. And we are available through Teams and by email, and also through our own library chat service. So let me go again to share my screen. I will show you on our library homepage, you can find, let me see here. Yes, so on the library homepage, you will find a box on the right-hand side for live chat. And this is manned by our library staff during regular hours as late as 10 p.m. on weekdays. So anybody can click this to ask a question, instant message, and get help from the library. Okay, so I would love to conclude with just some thoughts on something a little more conceptual that the library has to offer, and that is just equipping our students to navigate online information wisely. I'm talking about information literacy. So that's the subject matter of a librarian, how to find and use information effectively. Online information comes with many unique challenges for students, maybe especially sifting through the multitude of sources that they have access to online and finding trustworthy, accurate sources that are appropriate for college level research. The library is useful to you, first of all, just being a trustworthy scholarly resource for students. But we are also able to help you address these information literacy concepts in your teaching. As Christian educators, our librarians have given a lot of thought to not just what students need to know about how to be good researchers, but how this intersects with our deeper understanding and even our faith. Like, for example, how do values like discernment or humility provide us with sort of a different motivation and understanding for research practices like evaluating information? These are questions that continue to just fascinate me and inspire me to be creative with my teaching. I've actually been working on a teaching framework for information literacy, which I'm calling the Wise Scholar, which maps learning outcomes and research skills with specific Christian values, kind of intermingling them. And I'd be happy to share more about that with anyone who is interested, maybe looking for a way to approach information literacy in a more holistic, faith-based way. But I'd love to hear from you your questions, conceptual or practical, about what I've gone over today or what else we might think about in terms of working with the library. So this would be the time that I would have offered for questions in my session, and since we're not doing that live, I hope that you'll follow up with me or with another librarian on any question that you have. I know that right now we're all a little bit leery of overburdening each other because there's so much going on, but we really want to encourage you to reach out to us for anything library related. We have a whole team of librarians and staff who really want to contribute and help make things run a little bit smoother in some way for you. So thank you for clicking and viewing this video. I guess I'd just like to end by saying I know that there's a lot of stress right now. A lot of students are stressed. A lot of us are stressed. And with so much going on to just try and make online classes work, I applaud all of you for all the hard work that you're doing. You are really an inspiration in terms of your creativity and hard work. And I hope you can feel from this session that you have resources and that you have a strong ally in the library. So thank you for checking this out, and I hope you find our other workshops and consultation hours today and tomorrow helpful for you and encouraging. So until next time.